It's hard to criticize this New England Patriots team through the first 3 weeks, but the rushing game definitely has room for improvement. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Evan Lazar. Obviously, there's been some major injuries to the offensive line with Isaiah Wynn, David Andrews, and Marcus Cannon there for a couple games. But how much of the blame can we place on the O-line for the inefficiency from the running backs?
So statistically speaking, the offensive line is the biggest part of the running game, right? It's not the running back, it's not the quarterback, it's what the offensive line can block. The best blocking offensive lines have the best running games. Dallas, New England last year, New Orleans, we can go down the list. So I actually blame the offensive line first and foremost for these problems, but I think the biggest thing is those injuries and the lack of continuity. It really kills them in the terms of repetition, and Scarnecchia talks about this all the time, that repetition is so key, especially in the run game, because a lot of the times it's not just one block that you're making on the line of scrimmage. You're then combining another block down the field on a linebacker or a safety. A lot of the runs that I'm seeing right now for Sony Michel, it's not the nose tackle, it's not the defensive end that are creeping up and getting him. It's the second level defenders that are squeaking through the line unblocked, and those are the guys that are often on those combination blocks. So Ted Karras, Marshall Newhouse, you got some new faces in there, and they haven't had those reps to rep up those combo blocks quite yet.
And the rushing leader from last year, Sony Michel, you expect him to kind of make a lot of noise on the ground. So what's his role in all of this? Is it just the offensive line, or does he need to get better?
No, I mean, everybody can improve, right? But I think that really Sony is the type of running back that you need to get him that initial hole, because he's not a type of guy that's going to make 3 or 4 defenders miss in the backfield and then go up the field. And there are not a lot of guys that do that, but Sony Michel is not one of them in particular. So what he is he's a downhill runner, right? You got to get him that alley and you got to let him run. And once he gets up to that full speed, he's really good at the second and third level of setting up blocks and running through contact and doing all those kinds of things. But he can't do that if he's getting contacted in the backfield every single time. So I think the one thing that you can put on Sony individually is that they are predictable with him in the game. They run the ball 76% of the time when Sony is in the backfield, and teams are just keying on it. As soon as they see Sony in the game, they're expecting run. Everybody's coming downhill. The safeties are creeping down. The linebackers are coming into their gaps, and there's really no threat. Now, the advantage the Patriots do have is the play-action passing game. They've been able to really carve up teams with play action with Sony on the field over the last 2 years because of that predictability. So I do wonder if Josh McDaniels is saying we're going to have this tendency. That way we can average 11 yards per attempt through the air off of play action. And although Sony might not run the ball very well unless we block it well, at least we're going to have that play action passing game.
And I know we all miss Rob Gronkowski because of the ridiculous catches and runs he used to make, but he also was imperative in the blocking game. How much do the Patriots miss him in that position?
Huge. It's huge, because really they're getting absolutely nothing out of Ryan Izzo and Matt LaCosse. It's not just going from the greatest tight end of all time in the running game to a replacement level player. It's below replacement level right now. They also missed James Devlin yesterday, and really Sony in that 21 personnel setting with the fullback in front of him and James Devlin being that shining light leading the way, that's when he's at his best. And without Devlin, it really looked a lot muddier than it did in Miami. Without Gronk, it's really been a big factor. He's essentially a 6th offensive lineman. He's like an extra tackle. They don't have anybody right now that can give him that. So hopefully Ben Watson comes back in a couple of weeks, and that's the guy that they get from that.
And this FOXBORO Report is brought to you by betonline.ag. Head to their website, enter promo code CLNS50 to receive your welcome bonus. For all of our Patriots content, head to our website at clnsmedia.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel at CLNS Media.